Hi, Daniel. How are you? Great. Which piece are you going to start with for us? Which one?
Czerny.
Czerny. Okay, wonderful. I look forward to hearing it, and you can go on ahead. Yay, very good. What I'm going to do is have you play both songs for me, and then we're going to talk about each. So you can go now to the Burgmuller, please. Thank you. Wonderful job. Okay, so we're going to go backwards and talk about the two pieces you did. So we're going to talk about the Burgmuller first, okay? The Pastorale. So, Daniel, I wanted to ask you, have you ever performed this piece before, the Pastorale? Have you ever played it in front of anyone before? No. Oh, it's really great then. It's always a little scary to play for our first time in front of people, but I didn't get that sense from you. You seemed like you were very comfortable and confident playing it. So, first of all, bravo on that for your first performance to be so good. Okay. So, I actually wanted to ask you, and you might not really know, do you know why it's called the pastoral or what a pastoral is?
Well, a pastoral is like a field.
It's like a what? Say it again.
Field.
A field? Yes. Oh, so you do know a little bit about it. Okay. And so you're actually you're on the right track right there. So a pastoral is actually basically evoking like pasture or countryside or sort of the old country life. You know what I mean? That kind of feeling. And I'm glad that you already know that. That's actually really good. And so there's something about the way that a pastoral should feel that's kind of laid back and, you know, kind of easy. And I love, you know what, the background behind you on the piano. I feel like it's perfect for this. I see the trees in the background there, which are really nice. And it kind of feels like you're there with right now, just with, with the trees. So this feeling that's a little bit almost, I guess, easygoing and a little maybe even you're kind of peaceful, you know, with the pastoral. If you think about yourself in this place, right? And in this setting. And so the first thing I wanted to talk about was to some degree, if we could feel a little bit more peaceful in how we play this. Okay, so how do we do that? Okay, well, one of the things is your left hand is interesting, right? Because the left hand has these repeated chords. Now, I might just sort of lean back because I don't want to move my mic too much. So, hearing these chords. Now, when I play it like that, I don't feel very peaceful. I don't really feel like I'm at peace here. Do you feel peaceful when I play that? No. And so that element, if we don't do it correctly, it can break that sense of peace and calm. But what about this? Do you feel peaceful when I play this? Do you feel peaceful when I play that? Yeah, that's where it is. I think the actual melody in the right hand gives a beautiful sense of peace. I could even see someone walking in this pasture, or maybe through the forest, and singing this melody, or maybe they're playing it on a flute or something. I have a picture in my mind that makes me think of this setting. And when the person is singing or playing their instrument, they're very calm and it's very peaceful. And so I think Burgmuller did a great job because the melody gives us that. But this does not. Okay? So here's the thing. There's right hand and left hand. We have to do both of those parts. So how, I want to ask you, Daniel, how could we make those parts both sound peaceful? What could we do so that it can sound a little bit more peaceful and we can make it work together? What would you do? Can you come closer to the mic? I just can't hear you, or closer to your screen as you talk.
Like quieter.
Ah, play quieter. Well, I'm going to push you. What exactly should we play quieter? Ah, very good. The chord, you're very smart. So you already know a lot of these things. Correct. Because if the left hand chords are taking away the sense of peace of our pastorale, but the right hand melody does not, then how we do our left hand will already make a difference. So being as light as we can with those repeated chords will make a huge difference, right? So that's one. Before we do that, though, can you play the right hand alone for me? And I want you to pretend that you're walking through this forest, maybe the forest in the background. Here, turn around and look behind you. Look at these trees, okay? I want you to imagine that you're in this beautiful forest. I love this background. And that you are playing or singing this right hand melody, and that you are feeling very peaceful and very happy. Okay? Can you try that? Just your right hand for me, please. Okay, you can stop there. That was very beautiful. That made me feel like I was in the forest with you. So now I want you to put the hands back together. But I want you to remember what it sounded like just now when you played your right hand so beautifully and your left hand. I don't want it to get in the way. Have it just be very calm sound in the background. And the closer you stay to the keys, the easier it is. If you keep your fingers very close to the keys, it's easier to be softer. So I want you to keep that left hand in the background and make sure the right hand's just a little bit louder, but still peaceful. Go ahead and try it. Beautiful, Daniel. That was so much better. And I'm sure the audience could hear that. That made me feel like I was much more at peace. Now, the only little thing I would say is when you finish the first half, I wouldn't get faster. You have a really good tempo here. So when you're doing this part, I'll just show you. And you can get softer at the end of the phrase. So keep it steady. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not any faster. Very steady, very lilting, okay? Can you try it just one more time for me? And remember that at the end of the first half. Beautiful. You can keep going. Now, the left hand, again, has a little bit, it's a little different, but it's not that much different. The left hand is still supporting the right hand, okay? So keep going. Okay, great. So I wanted to say something. Now, in this little part that you just played, I feel like I turned a corner, maybe, in the forest. I went to some other, or the pasture, whatever you're imagining right now, but I went somewhere else and the scenery changed a little bit. And maybe for a moment, I was a little bit worried for a moment. I'll tell you why. Now, actually, I want you to tell me. There's this part from where you started, from here, from there until where you just stopped. There's like 2 measures in there where I felt like maybe I was a little nervous. I want to see, can you tell? Play for me where you think I'm talking about. It's somewhere in between where I just started and where you stopped. Where do you think maybe I could have gotten a little nervous? Where does it feel like the music might have changed to slightly nervous? Ah, you are so good. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm so impressed. And you're 7 years old? You're so young. I'm so impressed that you're already thinking about this. Wow. So that's exactly right. Right there. Because you know what? We get these flats. We didn't have any flats before, right? We were in G major. We're just in G major. That's a happy key, right? But for a moment, we get these flats and it seems like it's going to go a little bit to the minor, but it doesn't stay there, but it does right there. So since you knew that that was a spot, I want you to show me more that you're a little nervous there. I want to feel that. For 2 measures, I'm a little bit nervous. But then, right after that, we come back to the melody we had at the beginning, right? And we're happy again. We're calm again. So you can show me that you're a little nervous and now you're calm. Can you do that for me? Okay, start from here. So you can get into it. Oh, wow. Thank you, Daniel. That I could definitely tell the difference. I definitely saw that you did a little extra in that part to make it seem a little bit like we're nervous, okay? But the only thing is when you get back to the theme, don't forget to keep that left hand a little quieter because I didn't feel as calm as I did at the beginning when you got back to that melody. So remember to bring that left hand back down, okay, into the end. And another little idea. Sometimes when we're coming back to a melody that we played before, it can help to sort of set it up a little bit. And what I mean by set it up is we could kind of maybe slow down just a little bit back to before we get to the main melody. And it just helps the listener to calm down again because we were a little nervous before, but now we're not. I'll show you what I mean. So here, you see what I did? So in the last two D's there, I took a little extra time, a little retard, just before the melody came back, okay? Can you try that for me? You can start from the second half, the same spot before. From there. Beautiful. I wish I could just say, okay, we're done. But there's something, at least in my music, that I'm looking at. So you tell me if we have the same thing. In the second to last measure, there are some words there. Do you have some words in the second to last measure? Does it say anything? Oh, thank you for sharing it on the screen. It says it here. Yeah. What does that? Well, do you know what that says or what it means? Dim and poco rallentando. Do you know what that means? Okay, so there's two different things it's telling you to do there. The first, the dim, is short for diminuendo, and that word means to get softer. Okay, and the second part, the poco rall, which is short for rallentando, poco rall, means poco means little, so just a little, and rallentando essentially means to slow down. So it's to slow down a little bit. So Burgmuller has asked that anyone playing this piece has to get softer and slower into the end, which I didn't feel like you did. So it should be definitely more like this. Ah, you see, I took time in that last measure and I got softer. Okay, so can you try that for me? Because that's really important. How about we go from 4 measures from the end, which would be right here. Okay, go ahead. Yes, yes, that's the idea, Daniel. Because right there, this is such a wonderful way to end our pastorale, which started very calm and should end very calm. And that's the way to do it when we get softer and slower, okay? So I know people are watching you, you can't see them, but we're all gonna give you a hand from afar. Yeah, you can hear it from Brian, because first of all, that was really impressive. We're not done yet, but I do want to say that I am very impressed at, for such a young age, Daniel, at 7 years old, that you already have some ideas about what the music is telling you. So what I want you to do is to take this with you when you're learning a song, whatever it may be. Always ask yourself, well, what is the music trying to tell me? Am I supposed to be happy? Should I be scared? Should I be angry? Should I be, well, what should I be? And sometimes we won't know until we start to play it. And once we start to play it, we usually can figure it out. And you already knew a lot. So when you ask yourself this, the next question is, am I happy the entire song? Maybe not. We just found a part in the song, which you found for me, that felt a little bit nervous. So there was a moment that wasn't quite the same. So music is like this. Music is a journey. It's a story or a journey. And if you read a storybook, sometimes the story may start out really happy, and then sometimes the the characters in the story might get scared or be mad or whatever they may be, and that's normal, right? And so music is also a story. It doesn't always feel the same the whole time. And if the music doesn't feel the same, then we shouldn't feel the same. So even at your age, you can do, because you just did it for me, you can think about these things and it makes it sound so much better. So thank you so much for working with me. So let's go to your Czerny, which I don't have as much to talk about. I wanted to talk more about the Burgmuller. Okay. Um, the Czerny, I'll say, to me, I think it has maybe one emotion. I don't think it changes too much with the emotion. But you tell me, Daniel, what do you feel like when you play the Czerny? What's the emotion that you feel? Say it a little louder. Happy. I do too. It's a very happy etude. I definitely do. And actually, I did feel like you were pretty happy playing it, but I thought maybe you could have even a little bit more excitement while you play it with this. And the excitement could come from our tempo or our energy. And I don't want to tell you exactly how to do it, but I want you to really think about what you just told me. Like, if you're really happy, let's say it's your birthday and you're really excited about a gift you're going to get that you might really want, right? And so you're pretty happy when you wake up on your birthday, aren't you? I was. And so that feeling that you get when you wake up, I want you to show me that in the Czerny even more, okay? So, and then I have one other little thing to say about it, but can you play it for me again? And I want you to think that it's your birthday and you're just about to get the present that you always wanted, okay? And please show me that. Very good. I felt excited too. I thought about when how I felt when I was young and having a birthday. So I definitely felt a little bit more energy. And then the final thing I want to talk about is a little bit technical to some degree, because I was talking about this earlier, that of course our emotions and how we feel, I think actually are the most important, because that's what makes it interesting for those who hear you. But it is also important to think about phrasing and dynamics and other stuff. Like, those are our foundations. And without the foundation, then sometimes things can fall apart. So, to speak on that, I just thought that maybe you could do a little bit more with dynamics and a little bit more with phrasing. I know that Czerny did not put dynamics in there, or at least not in the one I'm seeing. Yours might have it, but at any rate, when there is no dynamics written, or I should ask you, are there any dynamics in your etude? Does it say forte or piano or anything? No. So Czerny didn't write that. But even when a composer doesn't put any forte, piano, mezzo forte, that doesn't mean that they shouldn't exist. That means that it's up to us to be creative. Okay. So with the little time I have to give some examples, most of the time when you have, let's talk about the right hand, when you have melody that's the notes are going high, it's always a good idea to have a little bit of like a crescendo as you go up. This is just basic. It can actually get, as we go higher, we may open up our sound. And when we go down the scale and the notes are going lower, we might diminish our sound just a little bit. And I'll show you what I mean in this measure right here. here, as I go up, I might get a little louder. And on my way down, I might get a little softer, which is natural to how we would sing that phrase. To the higher notes, more, and then get softer. See? And then I'm going to keep going. I would do it here too. I mean, and then there's other options too. But at any rate, can you try that for me? This is from the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth measure. Start from measure 5. From measure 5, please. And see if you can show me that. Just right hand, just right hand. That was wonderful, Daniel. That's the right idea. That's the right idea. Keep going. Now, one more little thing. In the second half, notice that the same melody happens twice. Bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-dum. Then we do it again. Bum, bum, ba-da-da-da-da. In music, if you do the same thing twice, you usually don't want to play it the same way. It gets boring pretty fast. So therefore, maybe the first time you could be forte, bum, ba, da, dum, ba, da, 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 da. And the second time be piano, bum, bum, ba, dum, to make an echo kind of thing. This contrast makes it more interesting. Can you try that? Go ahead and try that from the second half. Right. So just that's one idea. And then you could go back to being louder right after that. Okay. So let's end it off with you playing with your left hand. And remember, left hand, definitely not the melody. Keep that left hand light. And see if you can show me this stuff we just talked about with these crescendo and decrescendos. Okay. So don't do the repeat though. Please don't repeat it. Just go from the beginning to end. Oh, both hands, honey. Both hands. Yay, that was already so much better and much more interesting, okay? So Daniel, that's the end of our time. I want to say thank you so much for not only playing so well, but even more importantly, being such a great listener and really reacting and doing what I was asking you to do. That can be hard to do at 7 years old. I know because I have some students that age that it can sometimes be hard for them to really respond to some of the stuff I was saying, but you responded to all of it. So I know that your future is going to be great. Okay. So keep up the good work and thank you for playing for us.